You wake up, you slept, but you do not feel rested. The alarm rings, you turn it off. You look at the ceiling and already feel tired before the day has even begun. The tasks of the day line up in your mind: emails, meetings, messages, things you must decide, things you must fix. And you quietly ask yourself, what is wrong with me? Am I tired, or is this burnout? Behind these questions stands something simple: a discouraged human being overwhelmed by tasks that have lost their meaning and carried without enough human fellowship. So instead of asking, what is broken in me? Let us ask a different question. What is my exhaustion trying to tell me about how I live, how I work, and how I belong? This is a softer question. It does not treat you as a broken machine. It treats you as a person who is trying very hard. Now let us look at the world you live in. Many people today are overloaded. Work does not stop. Messages arrive at all hours. The workday leaks into the evening, the weekend, the night. The mind cannot find an off switch. At the same time, many feel alone with all of this. Teams are scattered. Families are busy. Neighbors are far away, even if they live next door. So we have a dangerous mix. Too many tasks, too little meaning, too little real community. This is the soil in which nervous exhaustion grows. I invite you to picture someone. Let us call her Anna. Anna once liked her work. She felt useful and capable. She helped her colleagues. When a project went well, she felt, yes, I played a part in this. Over time, the work changed. There were fewer people and more tasks. Targets went up. Thanks and feedback went down. More reports, more numbers, less time to think, less time to breathe. Anna answered this in the way many of us do. She worked harder. She stayed longer. She thought, if I can just get on top of this, then it will get better. Here we can see something important inside. Anna feels inferior. Maybe I am not enough to escape this feeling. She secretly aims at superiority. I must prove I am stronger than every demand. I must never fail. I must always cope. This goal is not evil. It is part of the human wish to overcome weakness. But it becomes too rigid, too big. No one can be on top of everything all the time. When this secret goal cannot be reached, discouragement appears. And with discouragement comes nervous exhaustion. The burnout you speak about today, the peak Anna is climbing toward, never comes. She never feels caught up. She never feels safe. In the evening, she is too tired to meet friends on weekends. She needs all her time just to recover. Things that once gave her joy now feel heavy. Is she lazy, weak, broken? No, she's discouraged. She's trying to live up to a private rule. I must be the strong one. I must never show limits. And she carries this rule mostly alone now. Let us look at someone else. We can call him David. David works from home. On paper, it looks great. Flexible hours, no commute, modern tools. In reality, he sits in front of a screen all day. Most conversations are short and cold. He sends files. He joins video calls. He solves problems no one really talks about in human terms. At the end of the day, he shuts his laptop. He feels empty, not only tired. His child asks him to play. He wants to say yes. But inside, he is still replaying a mistake or hearing again a critical comment from his manager. He tells himself, I should be grateful. Others have it worse. And yet something inside him sinks. David also lives under a quiet feeling of inferiority. I am never quite enough, never secure, never really okay. His lonely work and constant comparison feed this feeling. Inside, there is another private rule. I must always be competent. I must always be in control. I must never be needy. This rule is heavy. It slowly drains his courage. The result is nervous exhaustion of the spirit. What is happening with Anna and David? Here I must repeat something I have often said. A human being is not a set of separate boxes like work, family, health, hobby. We are one whole. We move toward goals. We look for significance and belonging. The way we move to work, love, and community is what I call our style of life. We form this style of life early, and then we see all of life through this lens. This lens is guided by our private logic, our own inner rules and conclusions, which do not always match common sense. Your private logic might say, if I am not the strongest, I am nothing. If I disappoint anyone, I am worthless. If I rest, I will fall behind and be forgotten. When you try to live by such rules, exhaustion is almost guaranteed. We do not build this only as adults. In childhood, inside the family, we start asking, how do I get noticed? What is praised? What is punished? A child may conclude, I must be the best, or I must take care of everyone, or I must cause no trouble at all. The firstborn, pushed aside by a younger child, may cling to power and responsibility. Everything depends on me. The youngest may think, I must prove myself all the time. These early answers can still be heard in the tired voices of adults who say, I can never do enough, or if I stop, everything will fall apart. Now notice how people often respond when they reach nervous exhaustion. Some push harder. They say, I must not be weak. They hide their exhaustion. They try to win against their own limits. Others pull back. They do the bare minimum. They avoid people. They become bitter and lonely. Some dream of running away, a new job, a new country, a new life, but in reality they stay. Nothing changes except their despair. These reactions make sense. They are forms of self-protection, but they often deepen the discouragement. There is another point I must add. In my work, I have seen that symptoms such as deep tiredness can also act as a kind of safeguard. If success, failure, closeness, or change feel too dangerous, the person may not say, I am afraid. Instead, they can say, I cannot. I am too tired. I am too unwell. This is rarely deliberate. It is an unconscious way to protect one's sense of worth. So your nervous exhaustion may be two things at once: a protest against inhuman demands, and a protection against life tasks that feel frightening. To understand it, we must dare to ask, if I were not so tired, what might I be afraid of facing? Now, what can you do with all of this? First, we need courage. The courage to be imperfect. The courage to say, I cannot live like this forever. This is not weakness. This is honesty. It is a first step toward a more human style of life. It is also a step into responsibility. We cannot always change our job or our boss quickly, but we are responsible for our attitude, for our private logic, and for whether we seek cooperation or stay in loneliness and complaint. Let us make this very simple and practical. In the coming days, try a small evening exercise. Take a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, right, gave me energy. On the other side, right, drained my energy. Then write 3 to 5 moments from your day. Small things, a conversation, a meeting, a task. Maybe you write, coffee with a kind colleague under gave me energy. Late night email, rushed meeting, or feeling ignored under drained my energy. Do this for a few days. Do not judge. Just look slowly. You will see patterns. You will see where you feel some belonging and meaning, and where you feel like a used, lonely tool. This is not just self-care. This is training your social interest, your sense of yourself as a fellow human among others. You are learning to see where you can contribute in a healthy way and where your limits are being crossed. Another experiment: think of one person you trust, a friend, a partner, a colleague. Tell them something like, "Lately I feel very tired," in a way that sleep does not fix. I am trying to understand what this tiredness means. You are not asking them to rescue you. You are inviting them to stand beside you. One honest conversation can already weaken the belief I must carry everything alone. From an Adlerian view, we cannot heal nervous exhaustion without speaking of belonging and contribution. A person who feels they are part of a cooperative whole, who senses, "I matter here," can carry difficulties with more courage than a person who feels they are only a replaceable part in a cold machine. So ask yourself gently, in my current life and work, where do I truly feel that I belong and that I contribute? If the answer is almost nowhere, do not despair. This is still an honest beginning. Then ask, what is one small step toward a place or a group where I might belong a little more? This could be a small community outside of work, a group, a class, a volunteer project, not to impress anyone, but to feel human connection. It could also be a small change inside your current work, asking a colleague, "How are you really?" Offering a word of encouragement to someone who also looks tired. When we encourage others, we often feel our own courage return. When we see another person kindly, our gaze toward ourselves softens too. Health of the soul cannot be separated from social interest, the feeling of being with others and for others. A person who feels, "I am a useful part of something larger," can bear life with greater strength than one who believes, "I am an isolated machine that must never break." Let us return to Anna for a moment. After months of silent struggle, imagine she says to her manager, "I want to do good work here, but I notice I am at my limit. Can we look together at what is truly important and what is realistic?" She is separating the tasks. It is not her task alone to carry an impossible workload. Her task is to speak honestly about her limits and her wish to contribute well. The organization's task is to respond. Maybe they support her, maybe they do not. But inside, something changes. She is no longer quietly blaming herself for something no human can do. Her private logic is challenged, and David, at his screen, may make one simple change. Once a week, he might talk longer with a colleague about how their work touches real people. He may ask, who benefits when we do this well? Who is helped? In these talks, he moves from lonely performance toward shared meaning. He begins to feel like part of a human chain, not just a pair of hands on a keyboard. If I look at what you call burnout through the lens of my psychology, I see three things: a feeling of inferiority that has become too heavy, a hidden goal of superiority to be perfect, indispensable, without weakness, and a loss of social interest, the feeling of working with and for others. In a human community, your nervous exhaustion is the protest of a human being whose style of life can no longer hold these contradictions together. So let this question stay with you. What is my exhaustion trying to tell me about how I live, how I work, and how I belong? Whenever you feel that deep tiredness that sleep alone cannot fix, pause for a moment and ask this gently. You are not a machine. You are a person with a history, a style of life, and a wish to matter. Your tiredness is not your enemy. It may be the part of you that refuses to accept a life of endless overload without meaning and without community. I do not offer quick fixes. I offer encouragement. Encouragement is not indulgence. It invites you to see where your conclusions about life have become too harsh, too lonely, too perfectionistic, and it calls you to correct them in the direction of usefulness, cooperation, and shared life. Encouragement to listen kindly to your limits. Encouragement to seek one small point of cooperation, one conversation, one community where you are welcomed. Not just used encouragement to remember that your worth is not measured only by how much you do when you are already at your limit. If you feel recognized, even a little, by these words, you may choose to return to them on another tired evening or share them with someone who carries a similar load. In doing so, you are already taking a step out of loneliness. You are letting your exhaustion become a doorway to new understanding, not a final judgment against yourself. And step by gentle step, you may discover that your life can be shaped not only around overload, but also around connection, contribution, and a more human pace. You do not have to walk this path perfectly. You only have to keep walking, a little more honest, a little more courageous, and a little more kind toward yourself and others. Thank you for taking this time to reflect with me. If something in these thoughts has been helpful or encouraging, you might choose to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, or to share it with someone who could use a little support just now. In this way, we stay connected and continue to grow together in courage and in a sense of belonging.